Hello everyone and welcome to the group exhibit Hydrogen Fuel Cell here at the Hannover MESSE 2013. For people that are just walking in and are not familiar with the public forum here, we discuss about fuel cell and hydrogen. We invite you to come and have a seat. Drinks are in the house. Our waitresses will come and bring you something to drink if you're interested. We'll be discussing great subject all day long until about 5 p.m. So please join us. We're right at this moment, we'll be discussing Networks of Excellence, cooperation of leading German and Canadian fuel cell and electrolysis research institute. Please help me welcome from Fraunhofer-Institut für Solare Energiesysteme, their Director of Division of Energy and Technology, Dr. Christopher Hebling. Thank you for joining us.
Hi, thank you.
For those that are not familiar with Fraunhofer-Institut, could you tell us what the institute is doing these days?
Well, the Fraunhofer-Institut for Solar Energy Systems, ESE, is one out of 60 institutes located in Germany for applied research. At ESE, we focus on renewable energy in general, such as photovoltaic and solar thermal systems, but also storage systems. And one out of the 8 divisions we have is focusing on hydrogen technology, because we're very convinced that hydrogen will play an important role in a future solar energy economy. And I'm heading this division for hydrogen technology, and that's obviously what we're talking about today.
Well, as per our topic, we talk about your involvement with other Canadian counterpart. What is that relationship between Fraunhofer and some Canadian institutes?
Well, it dates back a couple of years ago. We have had a project which was funded by the German Ministry for Science and Education, the BMBF, and it was based on my conviction that the Canadian research side on PEM technology, both fuel cells as well as electrolyzers, is world leading. It's really world class, and therefore we approached the Canadian authorities like 5 years ago, and in order to install a cooperation on both sides, and which lead it into a project what we called PEMCAT, like a polymer electrolyte membrane, Canada and Germany. And this was funded by the German BMBF, and the Canadian part was funded by the respective organization in Canada. And in total there were 10 institutes, 5 Canadian and 5 German partners, focusing on research on micro water management in PEM fuel cells.
And this association between the two countries was really led by you. You're the one that started those steps to have both counterparts work together. And this project on micro water management was very successful. Can you tell us what some of the characteristics or things you found through that research?
Well, the general question we kind of started the whole thing is that water, the appearance of water, that's the only side product in a PEM fuel cell. And you have to really understand where the water appears, how you can how it migrates through the pores. It's a two-phase flow problem because the microporous layer as well as the gas diffusion layer, once you have droplets in such layers, it's really tricky to get the water out of it. So therefore, with too much water, you have not enough gas flow anymore, so therefore you have to counterbalance water and mass flow of the gases. But on the other side, if it's too dry, if the membrane is dried out, then you have no performance at all anymore, because the membrane has to be humidified. So therefore we, the 10 partners, which all of them have their respective experience in the water management, they're put their heads together, and we improved the modeling tools, we improved the characterization, which means that the data extraction tools, spatially resolved parameter extraction by means of spatially resolved impedance spectroscopy, as an example. And so this is, and also we made some design suggestions in the field of perforating the gas diffusion layer, so like drilling holes into the GDL for the water transport from the electrode into the channel to improve that water management.
So better modeling of the water management allowed some new designs, or at least leading people into a new direction, basically.
Right.
And you showed me quite an interesting picture back at their booth, which is located at C60, which is behind us, and I invite you to go visit them after this interview, obviously. There's a great picture of one of the test stands that you have that could measure up to 66 sections at once, and I think that's quite leading in the industry for... not everybody can do that.
Yeah, that was one of the outcome of the project, is a 68 impedance, channel impedance spectrometer, which means that each of the segment can take a complete impedance spectra, so the whole sweep, like from the 10 kilohertz to below 1 hertz spectra, and at the same time, so they're all on the same potential but completely independent, which means that you can extrapolate the data from each segment and distinguish the effects, like from the from boundary segments to the internal segments, something like that. And this is a very powerful tool now, which allows us to make new designs for new cells with new flow fields, for example.
So, but this was all based on the old project with the Alliance of the Canadian. You have a new one coming up. This is quite exciting, and with a quite special name called Gecko, but I'll let you explain every letter what it means.
It's a German-Canadian cooperation on the kinetics of mass transport phenomena in single cells. So the basic idea is now we understood quite well how the water appears and how we can treat the surfaces and also to get rid of it. Now it's more on the kinetics of both again humidified air, but also the gases, oxygen and nitrogen, and we want to quantify all the effects of the layer systems just on the cathode, because the cathode is the most crucial part with the improvement of the cathode, both in terms of performance and energy and power density, as well as the reduction of noble catalyst, which is platinum. And so these are the two major targets to improve the catalyst, the cathode catalyst layer, by all various means we could find, which is mostly tomography, because with tomography methods you can kind of image the appearance of water again, but also one of the key new technology will be a MEMS-based through plane technology in order to measure the potentials in the plane, through the plane. And whoever is familiar with that, usually what you do is you have in-plane measurements, which you can do by means of segmented cells.
So you can segment, but you only do it on the top layer, really.
Yeah, well, each segment you can distinguish the segments, but with that's in plane, so to speak. But with a through plane measurement, you try to quantify the potential in the z-axis, so to speak. Through the gas diffusion layer, the microporous layer, into the catalyst layer, into the membrane. So the MEMS microelectromechanical systems. With this, you can have a spatial resolution like in the micrometer order, So, which means that you can, at the end of the day, you have the information of the potential in this z-axis. So that's one of the targets, and no one ever has been successful with that. But with this powerful consortium in the background, we're quite confident that we can make this kind of measurements.
Well, really, this is all based through the GECKO project, which hasn't officially started.
Right.
When is it officially starting, and when are we announcing this big project?
Well, we have the approval from the government now that we can start as a kind of a hub. We choose the Hydrogen and Fuel Cell Conference in Vancouver, which takes place mid-June this year in Vancouver, and this will be kind of that will set the floor for all partners to come together.
Who are the partners on this GECKO project?
That's a tricky question. Well, the German partners are easy because there are only 5. So, which is again, it's led by us, the ESE, but there is the Max Planck Institute for Complex Dynamic Systems. They do pretty much the fundamental part of that. We have the University of Freiburg, the micro technology faculty. They do this the MEMS technology for the z-axis measurements. Then we have the Institute for Chemical Technology. It's the Fraunhofer-Institut in Karlsruhe. They are more on the catalyst side, electrode formation. And we have the ZSW in Ulm, the Centrum for Hydrogen Technology. They do the tomography work of that. That's kind of easy. I said it's tricky because the Canadian side, they have a huge consortium consisting of about 20 partners, which is kind of now attached to it. And this consortium is focusing on the needs of PEM technology for the car manufacturers, for fuel cells for the cars. So therefore, I don't have, of course, the 20 partners in mind, but it's led by the University of British Columbia, UBC, and I mean all institutions which are well known are part of it, like Queen's University, Simon Fraser, the UVic, and all the famous partners.
And the other big one, just for people to understand the sheer size of this research project, can you put a dollar sign on the approval of this project?
As far as I know, the Canadian side has a pretty large funding of about 15 million, I think, in total. The German side is roughly about 2.3 or something euro.
So we should be able to accomplish quite a bit. And you said that the focus of this project will be, again, continuing on that water management. On the PEM electrolysis was one of your concern. Why at the fair, even now, I see that everybody seems to really focus on the PEM electrolyzer rather than alkaline electrolyzer like in the past. What is the main advantage that we're trying to gain from PEM electrolyzers?
Right. The electrolyzer, that's kind of the third project which we're about to start. That's the cooperation between the Fraunhofer Society and the University of British Columbia. This is focusing, as you say, on the PEM electrolyzers. The major reason why we focus on PEM technology is, I mean, the bigger picture is, as you can see here in the various booths, that hydrogen technology gives a very good match with the renewable energy economy, such as in Germany we have a lot of surplus electricity now due to wind and solar, and big electrolyzers as a negative load in the grid can take out the surplus electricity for reasonable costs and transform it into hydrogen. But in order to do so, we need electrolyzers which are very fast, both as a ramp-up as well as the modulation of the large electrolyzers, which means from 100 to 5%. This has to be done in a sub-second range, because if you combine, for example, a solar PV field with an electrolyzer and a cloud shows up within a sub-second, it drops basically to not to zero, but close to zero, and then the cloud is gone again and has to go up. So therefore, if this is connected, we need electrolyzers which have a very fast response time.
And that's where PEM fits in, because it can take that overload and that underload and react really quickly. The other advantage that I've heard is that it has a really high power density, but it's more expensive. So your research will try to accomplish to reduce the cost, I believe, or find ways to reduce the cost, I should say.
Yeah. I mean, cost is the dominating driver for all the research, both in the PEM fuel cell side as well as the electrolyzer side. Therefore, I mean, the power density is important because due to the fact of the footprint of such a system, you know. For example, we have installed a PEM electrolyzer solar gas filling station at our campus in Freiburg. And so the space was very limited, and all electrolyzer gas filling stations will be in the middle of the cities. And therefore, the power density is roughly like at least a factor of 5, which means that the size of an alkaline electrolyzer is roughly a factor of 5 bigger. So next to the fast response time, that's a very crucial argument to make it as power dense as possible. So therefore, that's another issue why PEM is important. And again, the driver for PEM technology in the electrolysis side is the utilization of noble catalyst, and to reduce the amount of noble catalyst. That's finally the goal.
So before we discuss further the reduction in noble catalyst, I just remind you that this is a public forum, so you're welcome to ask questions. If you have any question, raise your hand and I'll come down with the microphone for Dr. Hebling. He will also be available after the interview back at his booth, which is located right behind us at C60. But before I let you go, one last question. So the reduction of the noble gas, which one are we trying to reduce or eliminate or replace on top of any other ones? Is it platinum the issue?
Platinum and ruthenium, right. These are the two major components. And I mean, we've achieved already a lot. So like in a car stack, it's about 30 grams of platinum involved for a 100 kilowatt stack. I mean, it's a big unit. This is already
much lower than it used to be?
Yes, I wouldn't say a factor, but it's really already kind of low. But we have to reduce it by a factor of 3. So roughly about 10 grams are allowed. So.
And this is through the last project that you were discussing. What is the time frame? How long are we looking? This whole research project is for how long?
The Fraunhofer project is, this will be a 3-year project. It has a funding of 4.8 million Canadian dollars. And electrolysis is only one part out of several others. We do also wind production technology. We do biomass conversion technology. But we don't consider it as a project for 3 years. We consider it as a start. We have, let's say, the carpet for 3 years. And on this, we want to have lots of other projects together with the University of British Columbia. So we already discussed with the Max Planck Society in order to bring our heads together for a new project. And finally, we have to cooperate, and we want to, with with the fuel cell manufacturers, which would be Mercedes. AFCC is located in Burnaby, Vancouver. Engstrom Power is located in North Vancouver. So there are a lot of fuel cell and electrolyzer companies in the vicinity of UBC. So therefore, they will be finally our partner, because we want to bring knowledge into the market. That's our mission as Fraunhofer. And whatever, I mean, we want the guidelines from the industry. We as researchers, we can spend our days with all topics, but the guiding factors should come from industry, because we want to see fuel cell cars on the streets, and we want to see electrolyzers somewhere.
So they have to take over the lead a little bit and tell you what they want.
In terms of commercialization, yes, and product development. True.
Well, unfortunately, that's all the time we have. We're running out of time, so I'll have to cut you short. But again, I invite you to come and see Dr. at his booth, which is C60, or right after. I'm sure he'll stick around. So thank you very much for your time. I appreciate you having us.
Thanks.